Good morning. Welcome to Yoga by Beka. I'm Beka, and if you want to do about 20 minutes of yoga to help if you have back pain, then get on your mat and follow along with me. Start out in a seated position, focusing on the breath, coming totally within yourself. Breathing deeply in and out. Use this time to meditate, take inventory of how you feel, relaxing your body, slowing down your breath and finding a rhythm of breathing that you can come back to throughout the practice. Slowly walk your hands in front of you while your legs are crossed, stretching as deeply and as far as you can. Breathing in and out on that rhythm of breath that you decided on. Actively try to focus on tenting the fingers in your hands and stretching a little bit deeper and deeper, allowing every vertebrae in your back to stretch forward and over, creating space. Continue to always stretch, keeping the stretch while focusing on the breath. Slowly walk your hands back to meet your legs, lifting your torso up, and then now cross your legs but with the other foot in front. Slowly walk your hands forward, stretching as hard as you can, but yet keeping that slow rhythmic breath going. Tenting the fingers on the mat. Keep reaching for something in front of you. Your chin should be to your chest, tucked in. Slowly walk your hands back up to meet your legs, but then rock forward and then get into a tabletop position. Sit back on your heels, then move up and forward over your wrists, shifting your weight from the back to the front, warming up the wrists, and simultaneously keep your feet flexed. You're on your toes so that you have a stretch in your feet as well. Slowly move around, doing circles first to the left and to the right, shifting weight, and warming up the wrists. Take your fingers and let them point to your knees, and then rock back and forth on your wrists this way. This can really assist with your tendons and your wrists, and if you suffer from carpal tunnel syndrome, this is a great stretch. Now shake out your hands. Remember during the practice to do only the things that feel good for your body. It's your choice, and do what makes your body feel good, challenged, but safe. You're sitting on your flexed feet, toes on the mat, so that your heels and your feet are getting stretched out. Do a few neck rolls to release any tension and get back down into tabletop position. Breathe in and pull the spine towards the ceiling, lifting your knees a little bit off into this bear position where your knees are hovering over the mat a few inches. Then slowly transition up and back into downward facing dog. Your heels don't necessarily need to touch the mat, and your knees do not have to be straight. Just sort of focus on supporting yourself through the power of your hands and wrists, trying to let your chest fall heavy towards your thighs. Your shoulders should be opening, separated, wide from your ears. If it feels good for your legs, pedal out your feet, feeling a nice stretch in the back of your legs and in the back of your calf muscles. Again, come back to that slow, rhythmic breath that you decided on at the beginning of the practice, trying to keep it consistent. Focusing on the breath can help you really come into the pose and to be able to keep it for a long amount of time. In today's world where so much focus is on instant gratification, sometimes it's nice to come into a yoga practice where the gratification comes from delaying action. Slowly walk your feet up to meet your hands into forward fold position. Breathe in and lift up, flat back, and then exhale down to forward fold. Breathe in, flat back, forward fold. Your hands can be on your shins or your upper thighs when you lift up into a flat back. Bend your knees generously and then slowly curl your spine up and let your hands come up to reach in the ceiling into tree pose and then flow down or mountain pose. I misspoke. Take a breath in and get your left leg stepped behind you, knee meets the mat into low lunge. Arms swoop up towards the sky, reaching deeply. Shift your hip towards the front. Knee comes a little bit over your toes. Pushing your hips forward, getting a deep stretch in that left thigh. Place your hands down by your front foot and then scoot your right front leg further ahead of you into half split. Your foot is flexed. Breathe in and look up. Exhale and lean over your leg, deepening the stretch in the back of your right leg. Breathe in and look up. Exhale and melt down on top of the leg. Breathe in, look up, melt down, and exhale onto the top of your leg. Hold it here and come back to that deep rhythmic breath that you decided upon. Now pull your right leg in, lift the back knee up into lizard lunge. Then pull your right knee up and lift up towards the back and go into three-legged dog. Focusing on the breath, stack your hips. You can point your toe and have your knee bent. Try to keep your shoulders squared off, which I struggle with. But the more you focus on the breath and trying to keep the shoulders at an even distance, lift up on the left toes and shift your weight up and over the wrists, and then pull that right knee in to meet the right elbow. Then step the foot on the outside of your right hand and then lower back down into lizard lunge. Move back and forth, whatever feels good to your hip and your leg. Breathing in and out. If you'd like, you can bring your forearms down to the floor, or you can stay on your hands. Slowly lower your left knee down behind you, and then lift your left toes up towards your hips. Take your right hand, lift it up and over behind you to try to grab the outside of your left foot with your right hand. You'll want to focus on trying to grab the side of your foot that your little toe is on so that you can really rotate that right shoulder. And then take your right foot and slowly open it to where you're on the side of your foot and your big toe is up towards the ceiling. Come back to that deep breath you chose. You're just thinking about breathing in and out. Slowly release, hands back down on the mat. Take your feet together and lean your hips back to sit on top of your feet into child's pose, and reach in front of you, tenting the fingers, stretching deeply while your head rests on the mat. Now push yourself up and back into downward facing dog. Breathe deeply in and deeply out. Slowly shift your weight forward on top of your wrists and then come into a plank position. Sometimes what helps my plank positions is if I think about turning my elbows outwards, like my elbows want to see the sides of what's going on in the peripheral. Rock gently forward, lower the knees down, and then your trunk in a slow modified chaturanga. Hands are beside the ribs. Open your legs outward and then bring your elbows under your shoulders to lift up the top of your body into cobra or sphinx pose actually. Then lower yourself down, curl your spine up. Exhale, lower yourself down. Inhale, use your back muscles to pull your head up into sphinx pose. Then lower back down and then kind of shake out your hips a little if you have any tension that's been building in them. Push yourself back up into tabletop, but widen the knees and lower the hips backward into child's pose. back into tabletop, then lift the hips up and back into downward facing dog. Lift high on your toes and then walk your feet to come in between your hands into forward fold. Look up like flat back, breathe in, exhale, back down. Bend the knees generously and slowly curl your body up into mountain pose, then swan dive down into forward fold. Lift up halfway and then take your right knee and step back behind you into high lunge. Arms go high in the sky and that right foot is flexed and you're on your toe to really stretch out the foot. Slowly press your left hip towards the front, pushing your hips forward to get a deep stretch, and reach for the sky, lengthening the spine, focusing back on that low, slow breath you decided on. Now slowly take your left leg and pull it out in front of you with your left foot flexed into your half split on the other side. Breathe in and lift up. Exhale and melt down over the leg. Feeling a deep stretch in the back of your left leg. Meditate on that slow rhythmic breath and hold this pose, or you can continue to raise up on an inhale and then lower down on an exhale. Whatever feels good to your back and your body. I have a lot of damage in my lower back, and at this age, going into my 50s soon, I have sciatica nerve issues sometimes. And this practice has really cured me, this flow. Take your left leg and bring it back up, straighten the back leg into lizard lunge, but then take that left leg, pull it through, back and up, and transition into three-legged dog with the left leg in the air. Try to keep your shoulders at the same level. Then stack the hips, point that left foot. You can bend your knee. I struggle with keeping my shoulders flush and at the same level, but I'm concentrating and trying. Come back into that deep breath and lift up on your right toes. And then slowly shift your weight to where it's over top of your wrists. Bring that left leg in to meet the left elbow. Then lower it down outside of the left hand into lizard lunge. Rock back and forth if it feels good. If you'd like, maybe lower your forearms down on the mat to deepen the stretch. Now lift back up. And after a bit more movements and stretching, focus on the breath. Lower the right knee down and take your right foot and try to bring it up close to the hip. And then take your left arm and try to reach back and grab that foot, pulling it in closer. Remember to try to grab the side of your foot that your pinky's on so that that left shoulder rotates backwards and you're opening your chest. And then slowly let your left knee kind of open up to the left side, and your left foot goes up on its razor's edge with your big toe lifting up off the mat. Come into that breath, meditating on it. Slowly release, and then let's sit back on our feet, hands towards the front into child's pose. Then let your hands drift behind you to where your palms up beside the feet, releasing all tension in the body. And if you need to, as I'm doing, interlace your hands and bring your arms up behind you to stretch out those shoulders and arms. Let's get back into a downward facing dog. And let's again revisit that deep, rhythmic breath that we committed to in the beginning of the practice. Slowly take your downward facing dog and transition into plank position. Still meditating on that deep, rhythmic breath. Slowly rock forwards, then slowly lower down chaturanga. Widen the feet. Let your elbows go underneath the shoulders into Sphinx pose. Lower down, then inhale and lower the back up. Lift yourself up into tabletop, then transition by shifting your hips to your feet and transition into child's pose again. At this time, sit on your mat in a cross-legged position and take some time to meditate before you start your day. Slow down your breathing and your thoughts, and feel happy that you did something beautiful for your back today. Thanks so much for doing yoga with me, and if you had any kind of benefit from watching this, I hope you'll hit like and subscribe. Thanks so much and have a blessed day.